8:34, everybody. And following the death of her son, Eric Garner, Gwen Carr did not remain silent.
No, she turned mourning into a movement for change. And now that story is being shared in the new documentary, Her Fight, His Name, the story of Gwen Carr and Eric Garner.
Some people that call me Eric Garner's mother, some people call me Gwen Carr. There's no sense in someone else telling it and you being an extra in your own story. And the only way to do that was for me to get out there and speak his name.
And joining us this morning is activist Gwen Carr and Brad Bailey, the director of the new documentary short, Her Fight, His Name. So good morning to both of you, and thanks so much for taking the time to be here this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Gwen, you've turned your grief into action. You have done so much over the past decade. First of all, I can't even believe it's already been a decade, but you've pushed for police reform. You've been fighting against systemic racism. Could you even imagine how much you've been able to accomplish in 10 years?
Oh, well, no, because sometimes I look at some of the footage and I have to remember where I was at that time because I've just been all over the place. And Brad followed me for 6 years and got my story. He said he's going to tell it the way I tell it instead of letting the media tell the story for me.
Well, you certainly have a powerful story to tell. What made you want to get involved and tell the story?
Sure. Well, I'm an oral historian by training, and I was finishing my program at Columbia, and I saw that Eric Garner had passed away in December of 2017. And so when I wanted to really sort of find the real story behind some of these major news stories. Sorry, the real people behind some of these major news stories. And when I contacted Ms. Carr, she was just amazing. And so we decided to sort of just embark on this journey in an opportunity to sort of understand what do people go through and how families can sort of find their own way through this grief and trauma.
Did it help you then to kind of wade through that, and did it help with you moving on with your trauma? And
it did. It was a sense of therapy, even galvanizing with other mothers who have had the same tragedy that I've had. And in my story, it tells you'll see some of the women who I met in my journey, and they have been awesome because we embrace, we empower each other, and it's just been, therapeutic for us to get together.
Did you discover more about yourself that you didn't know?
I did.
You did?
I didn't know that I could speak in front of crowds. I didn't know that I could stand up and try to throw my weight to the public, or the public officials, I should say, and ask or demand that they do something about the laws. And I did get a law changed, the Eric Garner anti-chokehold bill, and that was amazing to me. We got me and other New York mothers, we got the special prosecutor. We got a special prosecutor bill passed by Governor Cuomo. And we demanded that of him. And at first he was dragging his feet, but after we continued going to Albany, and we did get him to sign that.
Made a difference.
What did you think when you got the phone call from Brad that he wanted to make a documentary about this? Were you hesitant at first to have cameras follow you around?
I was. But he, but he told, we had another person actually introduced me. Remember Nadia, the one told me about Brad, and she said he's a good person, but she told me that he would be following me for 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh!
And it turned into 6 years.
How did that happen? How did you go from the 6 weeks to the 6 years? Was you just realizing there was so much to tell?
There was so much to tell, and like I said before, I'm an oral historian, and so you have to follow her organic story. Yeah. You have to follow it as it plays out. You know, a lot of people think that they can predict what the end of a documentary can do, but you can't. As a documentarian, you can't create that story. The story has to create itself. Yeah. And so when we started the story, it was 2018, but we went through the pandemic. We went through some of the major events of 2019 with Ms. Carr. And so when you follow that, it sort of takes its own path. And here you are 6 years later. But what I found out is that Gwen Carr is a tour de force. I've met no one like her. And I think that as an inspiring leader, not just in the activism fields, but I believe that this story is universal, that people all around, not just the country, but the world, can sort of see and understand how they can create change in their own communities.
Is that what you want the biggest takeaway to be?
Absolutely, absolutely. That anyone can hopefully look at this film and sort of see a potential roadmap, especially in our current political climate, about how you can create your own change in your own communities in your own way.
I know we're out of time here, but I just want to highlight that this has garnered so much attention that you were even invited, both of you, to the White House by President Biden for the holiday reception. So to get that invitation, right, and you're talking about you never thought you could do some of these things, Gwen, and now you've been invited to the White House again, this time for the holiday reception. Just talk about the impact of that moment for you.
Oh, that was such a great moment. You know, it really inspired me that I was invited to the White House to see the president and to just be in his presence. And this is what I wish for everyone, all the mothers who's been impacted. And that's why when we get a platform, we have to share it. And that's what I do with other mothers who people have never heard their name before. They don't know who they are. But we have to embrace them. We must give them part of our platform so people will know who they are also.
Well, Gwen, we are so grateful for your presence here today and yours as well. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And have a blessed holiday.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.